The end of the road for conventional cars is getting closer as more nations join the push to ban petrol and diesel vehicles. Britain and France are among several countries to declare bans to stop the production and sales of internal combustion vehicles by 2040. Now, the world's biggest car market, China, with 26 million vehicles sold last year, has signalled a ban on fossil fuel-powered vehicles too. The globe's biggest car markets are locked in a race to roll out new generations of all-electric cars, and the key to it all is lithium, the mineral needed for batteries. And most of the world's supply is coming out of Western Australia, driving a new wave of mining investment. Catherine Diss reports.
Predicting the end of the road for petrol and diesel cars, Jason Stanley made the switch to all-electric. His $200,000 Tesla may be out of reach for most Australians, but the number of electric cars is tipped to dramatically rise.
I've spent my entire working life in oil and gas and mining and power generation, and while we need it now, it's going to be a legacy item soon, sooner than people think.
Jason isn't the only believer. Global electric car sales more than doubled each year between 2010 and 2015. There are now 2 million electric vehicles registered around the globe. 750,000 of those sold last year alone.
Just paying normal rates for my electricity, this car is about a third of the price to run just for fuel compared to my Land Cruiser, and that doesn't take into account maintenance.
While Elon Musk is grabbing the headlines for Tesla's targets, the world's biggest brands are rolling out their own EVs. GM wants to sell 30,000 EVs this year. Volvo plans to phase out internal combustion engines by 2019. Within 3 years, Tesla pledges to build 1 million EVs. Nissan and Ford predict electric vehicles will account for a fifth of the market in both Europe and China by 2020. While Volkswagen and Mercedes have also set ambitious targets to reach by 2025. And demand is there. Tesla's budget Model 3 has sold out, with 400,000 pre-orders. Helping drive that demand are global leaders looking for ways to meet emissions targets and cut pollution.
Exhaust fumes are like cigarette smoke. It's insipid, it's invisible, and it does us damage. And we're fortunate we live in a windy city that's not hamstrung, because the drivers for European cities is their terrible smog, and if anybody's driven in LA, we all know why we'd rather be having electric cars there.
Britain is the latest to set a target, imposing a ban on the sale of new internal combustion cars from 2040. It follows similar targets set by France, India and Norway.
At a global level, that knowledge, education, awareness has really led to people being more interested in doing the right thing by the environment.
The global movement, all possible because of lithium, the key to building the battery-powered machines.
The conventional thinking was that by about 2025, we'd need about 330,000 tonne per annum of lithium carbonate. Based on recent announcements from the larger automobile manufacturers, we're now thinking that we're going to need at least double that, about 600,000 tonne per annum.
Western Australia feeds most of that supply. The Greenbushes mine in the state's southwest is home to the world's highest grade lithium deposit.
Lithium is obviously a real game changer for that mine. It's been significant as a tin and tantalum mine, but lithium value is substantial.
And it's more than doubling production to meet demand. In January, Greenbushes was the only mine in WA producing lithium. Now there are 4, and exports have jumped more than 6-fold.
We could go from 1 2 years ago to 8 by this time next year. It really has been quite remarkable what's going on. The world has beaten a path to our door.
Despite that, Australian drivers are not world beaters when it comes to buying electric cars. China was the biggest buyer last year, followed by the US. 6 European countries collectively shared more than 50% of the sales. In comparison, Australia has around 5,500 registered EVs.
They've dropped the ball. We have the potential to be leaders and not followers.
In Australian cities, about 80% of air pollution is from cars and trucks. So if you can replace them with electric cars and trucks, then you have a much more sustainable environment.
Despite the lack of government incentives to invest, Jason Stanley believes it's the future. He's already signed up for another Tesla.
We travelled Europe and the west coast of America, and the EVs are here now. I've seen the future, It's everywhere else except particularly WA, but Australia at large.